Hey friends, welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be packing and preparing for the Nova Rock Festival, and I'll be talking about everything you will or might need, or even you might not need, on a festival campground, about everything that I am bringing myself, and also about some tips for your first or next festival adventure. A while ago I wrote an article for my blog about festival camping essentials, I think is what it was called, which to be fair was more of a packing list than anything else. And I did update this recently, so I will link it down below so you can go back to the whole list of things we're going to talk about today. If you have anything to add to my list or to these topics in general, please leave a comment down below so we can kind of collect all of our tips and advice. We are going to go over camping gear, cooking supplies, I'll give you some food ideas, then I'm gonna talk about clothing and like other essentials, and at the end mention some things that are optional but can be helpful. Before we start with the basics, please always read and follow the campground and infield rules of the festival you're going to attend, because they can be really different. So let's get started with the camping gear. The most important part of this video, I guess. First of all, you will probably need a tent. I recommend blackout tents because they keep you safe from the heat a lot more than normal tents. For an easy setup, you can also choose a pop-up tent or like a foldable one that you just kind of pull apart and it just unfolds to a full tent. Also good to know is you don't need to pay hundreds of euros for a decent tent. I guess 60 to 80 euros can get you a pretty decent tent already. Another thing I always bring when I'm camping in my car, but also to events, is one of these things. I don't even know what these things are called, but these are super helpful for car camping because they're pretty big, so you can throw the whole thing over your car. You will also need a small rubber mallet or something else for the tent pegs. This is actually the thing that I'm using. It is just a piece of wood. As you can tell, it has been used a lot. You will also need a sleeping pad or air mattress and a sleeping bag. If you also have sensory issues and you hate the feeling of the synthetic fabric of sleeping bags, I suggest getting a liner. You don't need to buy an expensive one for sleeping bags specifically, but I just use the regular cotton blanket covers from my normal bed sheets, and I just put one of those inside of the sleeping bag, so I will sleep inside of my blanket cover and the sleeping bag. Or at least it's what I used to do, because me and my boyfriend, we have a big inflatable air mattress and we just put regular bedding on there and a few warm blankets, and it's just a lot more comfortable. So this is the bag that I have with all of the bedding. There's my camping tables in there, but yeah, I have my pillow, I have the sheets, and there is a bunch of blankets all the way down to the bottom. And even if you have a sleeping bag, I suggest that you bring a warm blanket for the night because they can get super cold on the campgrounds. You could also bring a pillow. I just bring one of these like really small ones from the couch. I do have an inflatable one, which is this tiny. This is what it looks like, and it has these air pockets that you can just fill with air. In general, for any items you bring, I'd suggest to aim for small foldable ones, to bring something that doubles as something else. For pillow, you could also use one of your packing cubes or like a stuff sack, and just put some clothes in there and sleep on that. If you bring a winter coat for cold nights, you can use it as a blanket. Another thing I can recommend is to look for things that are specifically optimized for trekking, because if you hike somewhere for multiple days, you want something that is small and lightweight and easy to carry. Lastly, please air out your tent and sleeping bag or liner during the day. Do not leave your tent open when the sun is down and when it starts to cool down at night, because all the humidity from outside will creep into your tent, and when you close it down, you will have all of the humidity trapped inside and you will not sleep well because everything will feel kind of like moist. So if you come at night and you want to get a beer, get that beer and close down your tent. Don't leave it open, trust me. So next is cooking supplies. You will obviously need a camping stove, and this is the one that I use. There are bigger ones, but honestly, save your space. This will work perfectly fine. Also, the gas inside lasts pretty long. I do never need to bring an extra one for now, and this lasts me a few events. Just for comparison, to cook about maybe a liter of water. I would say it takes maybe about 10 minutes, just so you have an idea. Now for some events like the Nova, where fire isn't allowed, I bring a submersion heater. This takes also a few minutes to warm my cup of water. It is the most energy efficient way if you just want hot water. Another option would be a foldable kettle. Another option if you have a large group of people is to bring a hot plate like this. You will also need a camping cookware set. This is the one that I would recommend. It is also made for trekking. So let me take this apart real quick. So there is 2 plates in this. All of these can be used on your camping stove, and there is 2 pots, a small one and a large one. I have used actually this large one to do dishes before. I don't usually need this, I just use the small one. And then it also comes with this handle that you can just clip onto each and every one of these, and this is just super convenient. With the submersion heater, for example, I use this cup. Lids are your best friend when heating up anything, because you save so much energy from your camping stove. Foldable cups, also a lifesaver. You can bring them in the infield to drink water. You can use them on the campground. They are small, they fit in your pocket. Also cutlery, there are boxes like these that have everything inside. There are boxes with foldable ones. There are so many options, just check them out. Next thing you will need is something to store water in. You can just use water canisters that you have at home. There are also foldable options. I personally prefer these just because they're pretty sturdy. Also a small dish soap and a small sponge. So next topic is food ideas. I guess I'm just gonna show you what I will be bringing to Nova now and give you some examples, and then I just will put the whole list somewhere on the screen so you can screenshot. First one is obviously instant noodles. I'm bringing some cups like these. In my food box is also ready to eat canned meals like this one. If you live in Germany, go to Alnatura, they have the best canned meats. They taste almost like fresh, so I recommend these a lot. It's not sponsored, by the way, just my honest opinion. Then I bring some sort of crisp bread like this Wasa bread. You can also bring toast or canned bread or crackers or something. I bring oat bars or protein bars like these. This is like a fruit and nuts mix. Instant coffee, these things. Or cookies. I suggest to not use any that have chocolate on them or anything else that can melt in the sun. Also, if you bring drinks and such, remember that you usually need to fill anything from a glass bottle into a plastic bottle, because usually you cannot bring glass bottles to campgrounds. If I'm actually cooking, instead of salt and pepper, I just bring stock cubes, I think is what they're called. Pre-made mixes like these, just like a seasoning mix for, I think, meatballs or something. It is vegetarian, there's no meat in there. I personally like to use these just as a little bit of seasoning, and I think I will just put up my entire list of food ideas on my screen. So take a second to screenshot those if you want, and also remember, link to my blog article is also down below where everything that I'm talking about is listed. So lastly, let's talk about clothing and other essentials. The first thing you should never forget is a first aid kit. It should have some basic travel medication. There are a bunch of lists online in what you can put into those for hiking or camping. Look up a list of basic travel medications. And of course, remember to bring your prescription medication. You obviously will need sunscreen, and you might want to bring a bug spray. I like to bring one that specifically keeps me safe from ticks for the longest amount of time possible. Just invest into few travel size products. These are tiny and they are refillable. I put my skincare into those tiny little containers. Same with cleanser or other products. If you want to, you can bring like a bathing suit or bikini, a small towel. I also always bring flip-flops. I do not normally use the camp showers on the campground because I'm just so sick of waiting in that massive line. If you're a makeup person, you might want to bring a small mirror and your makeup, and of course try to keep it small. Just bring the things you really need and just plan ahead a little. Be realistic. Obviously, your phone charger and a power bank. I have this teeny tiny power bank which plugs into my phone right here. and it's pretty convenient when I'm like filming or something at events because I just plug it in right here and I can just keep using my phone. You also want to bring earplugs, really important, not only for music but also for sleeping in your tent because some campgrounds can be really loud at night. Also a sleeping mask, a scarf or like a bandana or something, like a hat, maybe sunglasses even. Make sure you're protected. I see way too many people with sunburn. I also bring paper towels and wet wipes. Also, please stay hydrated during the entire event. Bring a foldable cup like this one or one of those water bags. Also, electrolyte powder, not only when you had a few beers too many, but in general when you're sweating a lot and out in the heat and drinking a lot of water. It will help you feel way better. I also usually have rain boots, but I leave them in my car unless the weather forecast is really bad, and a cape. So this is just one of those plastic trash bag looking ones. A winter coat or warm sweater is also something I'd recommend for the cold nights. It gets really cold at night. Also remember to bring a small purse or backpack to carry to the infield. Usually I go for one of these. It has a bunch of pouches, or to most events I actually just bring Pusheen. I'm sure you have seen me with her. If you've ever seen me on an event or party, I will always bring this bag because it's just so cute and I love Pusheen and I love cats. If you're packing your regular outfits, or actually for anything in general that I pack, is use packing cubes or these type of pouches that you get when ordering clothes online. This, for example, just has my shower stuff in it. There's another one with my toiletries. I usually pack one outfit with everything, like the whole thing, even underwear, into one pouch for every day, and you can even write the days or numbers on them. You can also just put all t-shirts in one and all underwear in one or whatever. It will save you from a lot of chaos in your tent. You can even learn how to ranger roll your clothes. It will save you so much more space, especially if you bring simple things like shirts and pants. Highly suggest you look up some videos on how to do this. And lastly, we're gonna bring trash bags because we will not leave a trace. Don't be that person responsible for a ton of trash on the entire field or campground. So lastly, I'm here with my phone for some optional things. I took some notes. These can add some comfort, but they aren't necessary. First one, oh yeah, that's actually important, is a hand card. You can use a sturdy one like the one I have. Just please don't overload it as much as I did because I broke the tires. Yeah. You could also just go for a foldable and lightweight option, but I just had this one already for my grandpa, so I just kept using it. If you're a large group, some sort of garden tent, or preferably a folding gazebo, or a beach tent or big parasol if you're allowed to bring them, is also an option. A cooler box, which might help you to insulate your drinks. It can also double as a table or a chair. I personally don't like to bring one. I just use a little hack. Put your drink cans and bottles underneath your tent. During the night it will cool down from the humidity and the cold from the ground, and in the morning they will be pretty cool to drink. They also stay cool for quite some time. Next thing is a camp shower. I just have this really cheap one. I can just hang this up on like a gazebo or something, or I can put the whole thing on top of my car if I'm camping with my car. I use it to shower, but it's also super helpful to use for washing hands, washing dishes, things like that. In general, if you're quick and just wash your body 4 days, this will last you. I also have seen groups do like a toilet tent in their camp with like a camping toilet in there. There's some that use biodegradable trash bags that you just put in there and take out. There's some with liquids. I don't bring it to events. I just currently purely use it for car camping. Next is a picnic blanket. This is something that I personally bring. I either put it under the gazebo or in front of my tent. Obviously a camping chair and camping tables. There are camping chairs that fold in like really tiny little rolls. They are pretty small. There are bigger ones. Same with the tables. This one is a whole table. There are also bigger ones. There's a whole bunch of options. It just depends on the size of your group, I guess. Keep in mind what you want to use it for. I also usually bring a small light for my tent. It doesn't look very bright right here, but in the dark in my tent it will light up the whole thing. Some of my friends have said they bring hot water bottles when they get really cold at night. I prefer to just bring a warm blanket, but I kind of get why they're bringing one. Overall, be realistic when packing. Bring the essentials, but don't overpack on outfits or other things that you can somehow live without for a few days. Some people will travel with a backpack and a tent and a few t-shirts and a pair of pants, and that's it. And there is others who will bring, you know, a truckload full of beds, a fridge, I don't know what. I have seen really wild things at events. I guess I'm more on the minimalistic side, but not like as minimalistic as backpack and tents. And remember, even if you forget something, not only is there usually a mini supermarket at events, but also the whole festival community is there to support you. Just ask your neighbors. So now we're at the end of this video, and I hope you found it useful in some way to see some of the options that I own, what I bring, what I don't bring, and some of the general recommendations and things you need. If you have anything to add to this list, put it down in the comments below, and let's create a whole collection of things that are useful for festival camping, especially for the beginners, but also for us all to share as a community. And yeah, thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!